So Don stood proudly in front of his daughter, explaining the process of reincarnation. Janie chose not to subscribe to the words, slapped with an awe-stricken pallor. As Donald went marching to embrace young Janie, a realization occurred to him then. When a sudden occurrence comes out of the blue, it could shock someone into a coma. Beginning when Janie had 15 years of life on the ball of creation, she learned to respect and to love and appreciate all that her parents had done. Donald and Margaret loved Janie to death. Janie didn't feel the same way about her parents at all at the time. They just didn't seem important, so to lose one of them seemed just fine to her. Until finally Janie realized that parents are vital to the very existence of her life, and she felt that just maybe she could turn back the clock and not be such a cynical bitch. 15-year-old Janie came to the conclusion that she loved her parents a lot, and that she needed to show them just how much she loved them by being polite and not bitchy. Unfortunately, Janie acquired this sense of respect just as Donald played his last card. He developed a tumor the size of a kiwi. The lump was found in his right lung. Janie and Margaret prayed and they prayed, but God happened to be at the circus. Donald, he died, with the bump in his lung. And luckily, heaven appeared. He thought, Jesus H. Christ, what have you done to my family? This will crush them and bother them greatly. Just as he said this, a white-bearded man came to him in the form of a white-bearded man. He assumed it was God from the stories he's been told in the past. However, it was just the spirit of a homeless man who died under a bridge. The hobo approached Don. They had a good conversation about the differences between having a wholesome life and a fulfilling one, and having a life not worth living at all. The hobo explained that he was granted a wish for good behavior in heaven by God. He figured that Don could use it more because Don's life was clearly more important than a homeless man's. Don wished that he could go back to Earth, so he landed on a pile of earthly newspapers. He read the date, and it read October 15th, 2030. He died in 2013. He then noticed that time passes by in heaven at a much faster pace than on Earth, so he basically talked to a homeless man for 17 years for a wish, and now he's on Earth. He wasn't fazed in the least. The only thought that he had, are Janie and Margaret happy and alive? So he went to his house, and who answers the door but the very same daughter that had grown to appreciate her parents at the age of 15. So Don stood proudly in front of his daughter and explained that it wasn't so hard to come back to Earth after rising above. In mid-sentence, Janie shot into a coma from the surprise that her father arrived at her door 17 years after he died.